Right. We are no longer really up to the garden to let itself seed.
Well, it looks very well tended.
And we have that nice little pond at the top with water lilies in it, but they don't really come out till June anyway.
Right.
I think they're a bit later. We're at about 600 feet here. It's
quite high up.
Quite high for civilization. But we've got lots of nice self-seeding. All that is just... Well, I put these clumps of ferns in years ago, and that's a little burn goes through there and under the village and out to the river on the other side.
Yes.
And this is some little kind of bothy. It's a very superior building. It's the same
beautiful, yes.
thickness of walls as the house.
Yes.
The pond's up there, but come in and see the organ. I think you'd be interested in. I still have lots of scores in here, but the top of the house is full of music and files. It's a small attic, you can't really stand up, but there's plenty of shelf space in the house.
Right.
But most of the things that I would have needed on a daily basis are in here.
Yes.
It's a very nice little office for one. My computers and things used to be up there.
Yes.
On a little sort of split level up this ladder. There's the old Yamaha there. Real old workhorse.
Yes. Under the cover.
And
lots of music.
A hymn book. Bill was here, and he loved singing hymns, and Anna came, and he loved playing this. He kind of works out little bits of counterpoint. You
can improvise.
One hand's very sick, very stiff, and he's got three things that he's gradually bringing into use, and so he loves just sitting here. And that's where we are.
Right. Oh.
And it's rubbish, they say, but it is marvellous.
Well, it's great that you can play two-handed as well. There would have been a time when you couldn't use it one hand.
This is the old... Well, this is the one that's these two are very poor.
That's poor, right.
That one's awful. And this one's, it hangs about.
John said that when you were playing his organ, you just wanted to get on and make your own improvisations.
I did that. And he said that. He said, "Do it."
Yes.
He doesn't want to hear me playing good pieces or anything. He wants to have a nice...
To have a go.
It's all just modern stuff, you know.
Right.
And as I say, it's not at the top of the line. But if you listen to the actual samples, some of them are really excellent. You know, here's a little flute. It's in a box, so I can open it up. There's something on there that's not meant to be on there. I'll just...
Oh yes.
You can hear a little chiff on it.
It's got a bit of reverberation on it too. Maybe you can.
A tiny bit.
Yes.
Yes. I've got where is the reverb?
Oh yes, reverb volume. It's the second.
That's right. It's got a little, just not to make it too artificial, you know.
Yes. Like a calliope.
And I can revoice everything to a slightly more baroque or less.
Right.
That adds a nice sample chiff.
Yes. Yeah. Did you make a piece related to James Hogg's Memoirs and Confessions of a Justified Sinner?
No, I wrote the libretto for Tom Wilson's.
The libretto, right. That's unusual. You wrote librettos.
Well, I knew the book, and in fact, it was my idea that he was, he was in a desperate panic to find a libretto.
Right.
And I said, well, I've always hoped. And someone was making stage versions of it, bits of this and that. Not very well received. Tom Buchan was involved in some.
Right.
You know that name?
Yes, yeah, I know him.
Was involved in some of these, and I said it would a wonderful opera. Tom was a great admirer of Berg, and Wozzeck. He knew it inside out and backwards.
Yeah.
And I said, and introduced him to it. And it was interesting because, you see, he was a Catholic, and the whole raison d'etre of that book is to do with Calvinism.
Of course.
And predestination in all its worst sort of forms. And that's a thing that's been trivialised beyond, you know, people just see it in silly black and white.
Right.
But the book is quite profound, especially the second half. You know,
it's amazing. They retell the whole story from a different perspective. Yes.
And by and large, the opera didn't ignore the first half of the book. There are scenes from it, but obviously, an opera with the kind of idiom that Tom Wilson had, his musical language, was ideal kind of vehicle for the.
But it was never produced? Was it produced?
Yes,
it was produced.
5 performances.
Okay.
I conducted one of them.
Right. At the Edinburgh Festival?
No,
Newcastle,
no,
right.
never done at the Edinburgh Festival. It's never been produced since.
Oh.
Which is a pity. There were, I think, 5 operas that Scottish Opera commissioned over. There was a lot of commissioning and stuff went on in those days. Far more than presently in this little part of the world.
Right.
It was, I thought, the best of them as an opera. It was one by Thea Musgrave and Mary Queen of Scots, which was just a big costume drama. And I thought not as distinguished as most of her music. Robin Orr wrote one on Weir of Hermiston, which is unfinished. Stevenson book. It is unfinished, I think, isn't it?
He was writing it in Samoa when he was already dying of tuberculosis.
And it wasn't particularly. It was quite a good piece in some ways. Ian Hamilton, do you know the name?
No.
A Scot who lived his life in America, lived in New York. He wrote a very good piece for that series of commissions that Scottish Opera gave out.
Right.
5 big commissions over 5 years, and called The Catalan Conspiracy. It's a very tight, strong, thoroughly modern piece, very, very good. It doesn't have much of a future now, I would think. But I thought that the Confessions of a Justified Sinner was the best musically.
And can you record directly? Has it got an output?
Yes. It's got all sorts of output underneath here. And there's a thing for an extension speaker. If I wanted something up on the roof there, I could do it. But it's just for me to practice, really.
This is probably a very difficult question, but this temperament switch where you can go to Pythagorean temperament.
Yeah,
what would that change? What would that sound like if you go? Is that scales?
That's equal temperament. No, it's the Bach tune.
Oh, it's the tempering.
It's the tempering of the octave.
Yes.
Equal temperament Bach was a great disciple of equal temperament.
Are you familiar with Harry Partch? Because he was this outsider musician from California who ditched the whole Western scale system and went back to very ancient. Perhaps he used Pythagorean.
There's a Pythagorean one here. Some of them, I mean.
Do they sound very odd? If
mean tone. Well, if you use Kinberger or mean tone, if I go to mean tone,
yes,
mean tone sorts out that you'll get terribly out of tune A sharps and things, because there's no such thing as A sharp, and like in madrigals and so on. If you just take that little flute, it won't fuss you with too much sound. But there's the mean tone.
It's rather beautiful.
If I played in the key of F sharp major, which didn't exist really in these times. It's out of tune.
All right.
And it's that A sharp. That's really a B flat.
Yes.
It's a B flat on the mean tone scale.
There's one song on my new album which is in just intonation.
Oh, really?
Which sounds very strange, but beautiful.
Oh, that's just absolutely equal over the octave.
Yes.
Yes.
It sounds out of tune, but it sounds beautiful at the same time. Very archaic.
Yeah, I don't know what velotti is.
That sounds fairly sweet.
I've got 4 equal temperaments, and if I go to number 4, say 1, 2, 3, 4. That's got beats in it because they're kind of out of tune with one another. It's not in a good voicing for that.
So you were conducting it and you'd written the libretto?
I was working for Scottish Opera at the time.
Yes.
And I got the job of writing it. Tom said, well, you should just write the libretto, you know what people can sing and all that. And of course it's a gift to an operatic librettist. It's full of echoes of the King James Bible and all.
And very resonant for your personal history with the brethren and all the rest
indeed,
of it. Yeah.
And it was...
So Grandpa Currie didn't come to see that, did he?
No.
No, he wouldn't have.
No. I don't know. Was he still alive?
When did it happen?
Oh, heavens.
In the 80s?
I've written a huge piece on it for a symposium of Tom Wilson's works, and I can't tell you the date it was first performed. It was first performed in York,
right? Because
we were doing tours for English Arts Council as well as Scottish Arts Council, and that's quite a nice, sweet tuning.
I wish synthesizers had these intonation or temperament switches on them. They don't.
Kernberg is really quite nice. Werkmeister they used for 18th century music. It's easier to hear with just one stop, I think. That's an 8 and a 4-foot stop, Kernberger. There's lots of mutation stops on Baroque organs. You know, they just built up more and more harmonics, you know, discordant stops. And, you know what mutation stops are?
No, what are they?
Well, I'll cancel all this stuff here. Take a fairly neutral flute, that little one that you were hearing at the beginning on the first keyboard here.
Yes.
That's a fairly basic sampled flute.
Right.
Now, if I add a natsard, it's a very...
But you can get stuck though, you can get... do that sort of thing, get it back though. It's lovely though.